We can start. And thank you so much for joining today's talk with Melati Suryodarmo. And so this artist talk is presented in conjunction with the exhibition Everyday Practice, currently on view at this gallery. And just to give a brief introduction to everyday practices, the exhibition is composed with the works of Singapore Art Museum's collection, though this work that we are talking about is the National Gallery's collections. So it's a national collection, and so this exhibition space is dedicated for the collection shows. And the show considers how everyday routines and gestures can serve as quiet resistance, and how art can help us make sense of and also cope with adversity, especially current climate of the world, with like ongoing crises and conflicts. So the exhibition brings about 20 artists' works across Asia and across different generations. That we highlighted the theme of everyday repetition and endurance, which I believe is the theme very much deeply resonate with Melati's work as well. So today's session, we will hear from the artist on her practice with a particular focus on this iconic performance piece of their Sekundentraum, which is included in this exhibition. And this is a German title, and I think it means second long dream. And then it's presented as photo documentation, but was originally a live performance. So we can talk about this work in depth. It was first performed in 1998 in Hanover, and it grew out of Melati's experience as a student at the time, and also the recent migrant to Germany. So you moved to Germany in 1994. So it was made after 4 years of she moved to Germany. So, and then the work since then been performed several times in various contexts, including in Singapore in 2013. That was the last time this performance was held. Many of you already know Melati, who is an internationally renowned artist whose practice spans more than 3 decades now. And she was born in Indonesia and now based in her hometown of Solo. And her work is shaped by ongoing research into the body's movements and its relationship to the self and the world. And her artistic language moves across live performance, video, photography, installation, and choreography. So I'm very excited to hear about her practice and the behind-the-scenes story of this work. Without further ado, let's warmly welcome Melati with a round of applause.
Thank you, Haeju. Thank you for the SAM team to get me here and be here today to unveil a little bit more of one of my first works. Very old one. It's from 1998. So the Sekundentraum is an hour performance that where I use around 300 pieces of my own cloth, and these clothings are my personal clothing. So in the beginning of the first year, I moved to Germany. I had a very strange feeling that I was not able to adjust with the social environment. The sense of being a stranger was very strong. So it irritates my senses and my physical senses, and also there was a difficulty to be connected or to feel like it's my home, because I moved there and then I met my ex-husband, and then we wanted to marry, and then I was thinking of a long future, of course, but I have the difficulties I felt difficulties to be equal, to be accepted, and so a lot of identity question I had. And really something that I did not think that this is gonna be material of my work. Then I went to almost every weekend. I went to flea market. Going to flea market is nice in Germany. It's not just because people just go weekend to flea market to see things and so on. But there I always bought clothing. German people used clothing, and collect them. I wore them once or twice, and then the next weekend I bought again, and it becomes like a routine that I was not aware, and suddenly there's like mountains of clothing that I actually hide in the sacks and then put somewhere in my house, and it was the beginning. We had only a very small apartment, so then I put in the collective storage, and then it became mountain, a lot. Oh my God, a lot of things. Then sometimes I open again, I reuse again, I put them. It becomes like a very strange behavior that was repetitively by itself. So it was not a research of making a work or something like that. Even when I married, then I had the baby, and then we moved to another house, I still brought this clothing, and we rent a garage just to storage our stuffs and so on also. But anyway, I was very much into questioning about identity, and the more I think, then I read something like, if you look like this, your hand lines, palm lines, you don't see very clear, but you have to look it like this. So this is also like part of the, like the Asian people believe in faith and destiny or whatever. But then it's also identity, like personal. Everyone has different palm lines. Then I thought, okay, I need to work on the subject of identity. I need to ask, please don't forget, I was still a student. I graduated in political science in Bandung, and then I moved to Germany. I begin to study art by chance, because there's nothing else to do for me. So then I just joined, and then starting with Ansu Furukawa, and actually she's very important teacher before Marina Abramovich. So 1994, I was guest student. 1995, I registered as a student at the HBK Braunschweig, and then I learned a lot of possibilities to deal with materials, of course. Then 1998, I was already semester 6, maybe, yeah. But then 1997, Marina came. So when I was still pregnant, so she was asking me do you want to make art career or do you choose family? And then, what questions again is, I just built my future and I want to learn something. I don't know what happened then, after my study art. I still don't know that time. But then I asked, maybe both, why not? Why? I was that time pregnant and studying and so on. And then she said, yeah, I cannot say no. She said, so then I joined her class, and she invited us for a group exhibition in Kunstverein Hannover in 1998. Then it was, I think, September 1998. My daughter was 6 months old. So, oh my God. Then I was, actually at that time I was already doubting myself. Okay, Melati, now you're mother. and then you want to work with clothes, your clothings, and then it's very domestic, it's very everyday, it's very female, like, like I piled. Maybe we just play in the background. Maybe sound a bit. This was in Kunstverein Hannover. For the first time I performed this, and Abramovich students, that time around 23 or 24 students. We shared the whole museum building or gallery building in the Kunstverein with 24 students, and it was 24 hours event. And but this one is in Weimar. This 1 year later. The one that is the first time is in the documentation, the photo documentation. Actually, NGS has also the video. This one, the video, yeah. And so that time I was thinking, okay, it's not about my everyday of being mother and like that. It's about the identity that I was seeking a lot, and the pain that, okay, I was not tall, all the silly things that I felt. Why my skin so brown, and they don't look at me because they look at me like when sometimes I felt strange. The ongoing feeling of being strangers was not very convenient from my side. It's because I felt sometimes when you communicate, you are not understood, or sometimes how they speak also in the art school very intellectual. So sometimes I also don't get it. So then I work very hard. I read a lot of books in German. I learn German. Of course, I have to learn German, speaking German and reading a lot. And then one day I understand, this is about the structure of thinking, perspective, how we see the world differently. So this pressure for me felt like when I feel claustrophobia. I have a claustrophobia problem, so I cannot be in a small room. Lift is still okay because I know it will stop and soon I go out. But like in the pandemic, is like if I should be quarantined, it was really problematic. Yeah, so I'm very claustrophobic, so it has a similar experience of like feeling like claustrophobia from your search of your own identity, how you place in the new environment, how you like now, like I'm here in Singapore. Now I'm maybe expert, like to be everywhere. But at that time I was very, I have a very strong minority complex. My Indonesian identity was still, I want to be a good Indonesian, to represent my country, because I was a full-time product of the New Order generation during Suharto, where I grew up. If you can go abroad, you have to represent your country in a good way. It's such a burden, and then also from parents who expect me to behave as a good person, a good Indonesian, good. So a lot of pressure that I felt. Then I have to seek for kind of a way to find my own freedom. This kind of thing. So this clothing that I had been collecting from 1994 until 1998 from many resources, and most of them from flea market for 50 penny Deutschmark. That time not yet euro, by the way, and I felt sometimes funny, like having the same clothing like the German mostly. But I felt not suitable, of course. So this folding, repetitive folding and piling, and then destroy the construction is also like the way I see. I want to prepare myself. I want to shape my identity or this kind of thing. But I was actually never been satisfied to become myself. And it's very important part of the beginning of my career, this work, because then I've been working about identity, and from there I see, okay, what's my relationship with Indonesia actually? What's the meaning of being identified with one nationality? And what is this? What does it mean, countries' borders? So I studied international politics before, and then I experienced this is not easy. My thesis for my political studies was about Indonesian cultural diplomacy in the United States. So I criticized that also because it was like a very exploiting the exotic. So I was very actually not agree with this strategy. But then as an individual where I need to survive in the new environment, in the new social environment, I am like the object of exposure. Like, you're Indonesian. Mostly they ask, are you from Thailand or Philippines? No, I'm not. I'm from Indonesia. Oh, where's Indonesia? Indonesia is south of Singapore, and you don't know Bali. Bali, you know. So a lot of that time in the 90s, of course, many of these questions I have to face. This was performed in Kunstverein Hannover, and my baby was 6 months, or 7 months, I think. And then Marina, who was very curious and like questioning strongly about career or family, you know. She said, okay, you perform, I take care of your baby. Yeah, so I don't know if some of you already ever been in Kunstverein Hannover. It's an old building with stairs, and then on the side there's big door. There's another stairs going to office, so it's not for public, the stairs. And so there is like knees under the stairs. So I set mats and blankets and so on for breastfeeding and taking care of my baby. So she said, okay, I take care of you, of Selena, and then you perform. And then she took care of Selena under these stairs, and she slept with Selena for 1 hour. So very sweet side of Marina, and since then I felt, you know, she's not just about my teacher or my professor, but she's also someone that has, you know, a very good heart. And she also, until now, if she meet me and then she asks, how is your baby? How's your baby? Yeah, so that one is something that is very personal, that built my relationship with Marina also very well afterwards. Yeah, so, and then this was in a 24 hours event as students of Marina Abamovich. But this work has triggered me to seek more meanings about identity, about borders, and then this one is before Butter Dance. This one is 2 years before Butter Dance was made. Yeah, I think in between there is only installations and film works, and so after this performance, I made the Butter Dance performance.
Yeah, so this use of the second-hand clothes is so layered. You mentioned about also in our conversation the consumerism and the desire of like endless desire of like collecting, gathering, and buying. And also each garments embedded certain memories. So some of the clothes are that you bought from the flea market, but some you mentioned that are from Indonesia as well. So yeah, then yeah, so this first scene we are seeing is very intriguing. Then you quietly fold each one, and then it creates a sense of anticipation before something happens. And yeah, so later we will see the scene where the act of the dressing begins. And so now it gives the audience time to focus and sink into the gestures itself. So can you record what went through your mind when you did like long acts of folding and piling? Yeah, did you somehow like record the memories and stories related to each garment?
Sure, some of them are my own clothing from Indonesia I brought when I moved to Germany. But also then when I did this piling, I think, oh, who has owned? Maybe this person already died. I never thought, but then this image came to my mind when I was folding the cloth. And then I thought, oh, maybe if these clothings are from people who died already, then maybe it's like kind of a reincarnations into the clothing into me, like the transfer energy and something like that, because then later on it's not good to wear someone's clothing who died already, so because the energy is transferred. But then I thought, yeah, why not, so then because it's clean, and then why we do have to produce, I mean, like these are there, and then what if someone not wearing, what will happen with this clothing? Until now is a problem, right? Problem of productions of clothing, but this one is this consumerism subject is another work, but this one is more like going into that, like how people transfer materials to others in this world. Actually, the economy of productions of products. So after they use, what happened? We don't really, like in Indonesia, for example, the knowledge of recycle came very late. So I knew about recycling things when I was in Germany very strongly. And also, for example, there was like a campaign not to buy things from China, for example, or from India because of the kids' labor, because slow payment, and so, but actually also about the industry that they want to keep the European products also. So it's about economy. So the economy after the product is there. So how is the circulation? Then, and those who consume, like me consuming the rest of like the pre-loved object, for example, like the clothing of others, and then so in the social, if I were in Indonesia and they will think it's a low class people wearing second hand. But in the 90s, because of it was like 6 years after perestroika, a lot of solidarity towards the opening of the border between former West Europe to East Europe. So this energy of also the influence aesthetic of my friends, of my colleagues at school, how to make artwork. We mostly did not buy new materials to make object. We use used materials. We collect from households trash, on the street, like use wood, use anything material that becomes sculptures and so on. So this 90s aesthetic also influenced me, because my friends also, they paint on wood panels they found on the street, and they paint, like this kind of making sculpture installations using all these materials that has been used, not buying new. And so the second-hand clothing, like not really vintage, but like became a trend in Berlin in the early 90s, and also like second-hand clothing from East Europe. They were sold in Berlin, and then people like making like a new style, like very hipster at that time in the 90s. The thinking process of this period of time, I think, influenced this work also.
Yeah, after folding and filing, then you start to layer one by one.
Yeah.
So,
and then I mess up again. Can we skip, please?
yeah.
Skip the video into no. We can show this one also actually. So after piling, and then I mess up again, and then I take off my clothes. This was in Schloss in the castle in Salzau in north part of Germany. And then I put the cloth one after the other. So actually, maybe in the video and the last part, is it possible?
Can you go back?
To play this one, but skip into almost the last part. Yeah. So initially, the first time I did in Kunstverein Hannover, I was wearing, and then lying down for a while, and no one helped me. So I could not. And then until my husband that time helped me to take out, and then people joined to take out. But the next one I asked help. And so people participating in taking off the clothing. Because I was thinking, even very difficult for me to decide, should I ask for help or should I take out by myself? Taking out by myself, it was not possible. Very hard. So then I need to help. I need to ask for help. And then, is asking help still suitable to the thinking, to the background of this work? And then I said, yeah, actually, I need help. Yeah, I need help from people to be back also to myself. Yeah.
Can you talk about the song? So there was silence, when you were filing and folding the clothes, and then
in 1997, 1998, I was still influenced by Anzu Furukawa, and the training that I received from Anzu Furukawa was also like making choreography or like creating some grotesque images, but also still in the concept of choreography and music. I learned a lot from Anzu Furukawa also about music and how to select music. So Andrew's Sisters is a three Jewish singer who flew then to United States. So the song is about bei mir bist du schön, like about a happy girls, like giving a love feeling that if you're at my side, you're the most beautiful one. It make me feel also happy, and this very, very happy song that actually it's the opposite of what I'm doing. So the more I wear things, the more grotesque I look like, and it's the opposite of being beautiful. Just like that. But of course, the selection of song then is also was asked why you choose Jewish.
makes
Singers.
contrast.
Yeah. It's just I really like the text and expressions that was, historically so much back, because in Germany also like a lot of story about people's identity being vanished because of the Holocaust, and then before the shower they have to take off all the clothes. Yeah. think Botansky took the clothing, yeah, like the idea of the clothing of the, yeah, memory of the Holocaust, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like to talk us about these movements, the repetitions in your performance? So yeah, those movements that you use, is that those simple movements and acts are often appear in your other performance as well. So many of your works are built on repeating a core action. Yeah. So few core actions are repeated, mostly in a long duration, like you dance on butter, or you like shoot arrows, or you grind the charcoals. Yeah, there are like certain actions that can be condensed, described in your performance. So can you talk about the effect of repetition? We also talk about repetition in our shows, how repetition builds up the intensity, and also it in itself in performance builds the time. So yeah, perhaps the emotional experience and impact that when you focus on repeating certain actions, and how this idea of condensing into 4 core action came about in your like performance career, instead of like building with like several actions. And
the concept of repetition has been influencing a lot of my practice in making performance art. First time I learned about repetitions is in the experimental filmmaking, because I also joined experimental film class. That the loop, the concept of loop is for me very interesting. So that people make a film like that time, maybe 16mm is only maximum 3 minutes because expensive, or Super 8 also 8 minutes maximum. So then the material, the film is treated as a material that can be changed, and then you tape, and then it becomes a loop. Then when you watch it repetitively, and then you don't watch loop film only once. You want to look at this more, and then after watching several times, and then the actual image, which is a combination between the viewer's perspective and the image that is offered on the screen, is blurred, or there is something new that is growing. So that means the loop is giving the opportunity to the people, to the viewers, to go back. So it's not just watching, but it's also there is an opportunity to go back.
So it's a way to invite the audience to participate, bring into your performance.
To open their own perceptions, and to whatever they can keep from the whole actions that I did in the performance can remain on their own process. You know. So yeah, I don't mind. I think it's never-ending for me. Never-ending process to understand the meaning of repetition. But then later, for example, I understood more about Sisyphus. Sisyphus, Abed Camus, and then the myth of Sisyphus, and then analyzing what is Sisyphus really stupid? Maybe not, maybe because the experience of every time he repeats is different. So it's the same. So it's not really like a clock that like this, So every time, because we involve life, then the experience is also different. Like in the butter dance, I think we repeat the same mistake. I know that if I dance on the butter, I will fall down. But I do it again. This is like when we decide something, we will risk on something, we will fall, and sometimes we just risk and repeat again when we fall, and then, okay, let's try again. So very natural behavior of human that I think in the context of performance art is also, it's about time, that time can merge with what is happening, or we are merging in the time. So, because performance art is about senses, about rasa, and it's not easy to always think what's the visual. The action is not theater, it's not theatrical, but it's a true action, maybe symbolic action. But what is the aesthetic language that should come to you? So then the language of rasa is, in my practice, very important. Rasa is it's an Indonesian term of not only just emotion or feeling, it's a combination of your cognitive capacity and senses. So rasa is, I think, I want to promote this word because this is very, but I cannot translate this just for feeling or emotion. It's a combination of your intellectual capacity.
Where these words are often used in arts or in daily?
Rasa, in the daily life. Rasanya is not just a feeling. Rasa is like embodied experience and the actual capacity of senses, capability of senses. So, how many years? 25 years later, I'm now very much into this, using this language of rasa. I cannot translate, it's like the same jiwa, like the term I used for Jakarta Biennale 2017 when I was artistic director there. And then I told to my co-curator, to Philip, we cannot change jiwa. Jiwa is not just a soul. Jiwa is an existence, so that's why we decide using sometimes a local word.
There was another word that you often used, taksu.
Taksu,
energy and aura. It's also kind of core, like the
Taksu
strength to keep your performance.
The, how do you say, the presence. Like the energy of presence, Daya hadir. The power of presence is taksu. So even the local, in the traditional practice of dance, for example, or puppet shadow play or gamelan, like we use a lot of taksu as the essence of the presence, or that create then aura, is read as aura. But taksu is actually embodied experience. It can be trained. Yeah, it's not that the taksu of the grandmother who is the mask dancer, a maestro of mask dancer, come to the grandchild or the daughter, but because they're, even in the pregnant ship, they already listen to the music and dance, the mother dance, and then when they were born, and then they, every day they listen to the music, and the environments are surrounded by dancers, and children learn a lot from this and get a lot of rasa and senses. So I think taksu is something that is not given. Taksu is something that can be trained. So like different actors, different taksu, and different embodiment. And taksu is very important too in terms of performance art. I think it's like kind of a complete awareness of what you are doing.
Complete awareness.
During the presence,
So since we talked about the gestures, repeated gesture in the performance, I also want to talk about the re-performing, reenacting your performance. Because each performance, even though it's the same works, depending on where you perform, which audience you meet, it changes. And so you did this performance 7 times over 15 years. Until 2013, and I wonder also, not only this piece, but you also have the chance to perform your pieces again in different contexts. How each works grows? Does the works grows with you, and it has any changes over time, and how it reacts to you in your body when you re-perform?
I like the idea of extracting meanings, that is very close to life. So a work that is, for example, created according to my daily life experience. Like actually folding was my job. I work at the department store in the sports department to support my study and my living. And even until I stopped working there because I almost gave a birth of my daughter. But even I was pregnant, I was working at the department store and at the sport department. So I learned how to fold the clothes efficiently from my senior in the department store. But there are a lot of, because especially before Christmas or like that, people were shopping, and during sales time, they just do like this. And so I was learning how to fold efficiently. And so that one also that job, I did repetition, and then I experienced this daily experience of surviving life, also not from the domestic side only, but also from jobs, and put in this performance as a technique, only a technique, and then the idea of repeating it with another meaning, carrying another meaning that was, I think. Now I also still can ask about myself, what is my identity now after I go back to Indonesia? So there is also another story. So I was not really accepted with my art practice. Oh, your practice is so European, Melati. Of course you're Indonesian, but you are not representing Indonesian visual art, for example, like this, because I created my work in Germany. So then I was surprised, like, oh, poor Melati. You've been working very hard, and then you want to go back home, and then your practice is not considered as Indonesian artist artwork. And then I said, so the identity as subject is always going on, and I have no problem to repeat this because the subject is growing up with me whenever I am now, and so it also with butter dance, it's also with other work. So my work is not specifically representing something that is only according to one area or geographical area or time period, but it can carry it on. Yeah, it's growing with my life. Yeah, so I have no problem repeating.
We have one more work that we wanted to share, right? Yes. So another works using the cloth. Yeah, it's a short video, so we can watch together.
This is called the 𝘋𝘦𝘳 like clothing apes, and this one is about consumerism. This one is not my own clothing. So this one was in Macan, was also from the second hand, but then some of them also donation. So last year was in Arnhem Museum in the Netherlands, and it was in the Fashion Biennale. So they asked for donation purely. So the installation was built from donation from people in Arnhem to build the installation. So it's a delegated performance with an installations of clothing tree. First time I did in 2007 was installed or exhibited at the 𝘋𝘦𝘳 in Finland, in Helsinki. And so the performer is there hugging. No, first time was in 𝘔𝘔, sorry. So first time was making in 𝘔𝘔 in 2006, and then then bigger one in 2007 in Helsinki.
In the first installation also involved this performance of holding trees.
Yeah.
Was also another performer or was
Another
it,
performance, yeah.
For 3 hours, right?
Yes, 3 hours hugging. Actually, it's a critique towards our consumerism, high consumerism of of clothing, of course, but also our always ongoing and the worst is escalating desire of consuming things. So I think we will not stop consuming things, no matter how many campaigns like to be more cautious about consuming. But human desire and having more, to have more and be better and the best, to be the best. You are always never ending. That's why industry is still going on and getting better. After the gasoline cars, now the trend is like the electronic car, and then everyone is competing to have these prestigious certain brands of, of electric car, which are very expensive, for example, in Indonesia. So like, it's still going on, mobile phones and the best photo, the best camera in the mobile phone. And then the clothing is never ending. Yeah. Our desire towards material possessions is something that is, I don't know, it's not very primitive, but it's kind of based on our primordial characteristic of human, that is owning and possession, it's including territorial. Yeah.
Yeah, so those two works, like created like in different times. Yeah, but also using the similar materials, but also touches, different questions. So now we have almost used our own time. So maybe we can open the floor for questions if you have any questions to the artists.
Thank you very much for the wonderful talk. I have two questions. The first one is pretty anal. One of the visitors asked me about that piece of work, and she wanted to know if you actually managed to wear all 300 pieces, and what if at the 200th piece you need to go to the ladies' room? I mean, it went on for 24 hours, right?
No, this one for only 1 hour.
1 hour.
1 hour, yes. Okay. Yeah, within 24 hours event, but it was only 1 hour, this performance. So, no lah, I prepare for 1 hour is easy, not to go to restroom, but I did not manage to wear all, although I wanted to wear as much as possible until I could not move. Yeah, I could not move when a lot of clothing, and then automatically could not move anymore. Yeah. Then I stop. Then I ask for help.
The second question is relating to what you mentioned about identity. So now that you look back to that performance, how does it reflect for yourself? And then do you see yourself as a global citizen? And how do you use that to protect and hold on to your identity while you do transform yourself through your performances? Thank you.
Yes. Different layers of identity, I think, when we talk about identity. The simplest one, although it's very complex and complicated, is about our individual identity. The real complex one is cultural identity, and super complex is national identity. So, because national identity is shaped, by political system and history of a country, of a state, and so on. But cultural identity has another way to understand in different contexts, history of culture, but also like our cultural DNA that is inherited through our family and all of this. Because culture history is very important to be understood, to understand where you come from. Is it if you are from Indonesia? Indonesia is big, you know. I'm from Java, from Solo, and which family in Solo, which area of Solo also different. So because the history of Java in Solo, in central Java, has also a history of feudalism very strong. And then you ask, if people understand, they ask, are you from royal family? You have a blue royal influence in your family or something like that? But it's not about that only. It's about also like social class, history, and how I am here. Maybe I become an artist because my great grandfather was musician. My grandmother was not a dancer, but my mother was a dancer. And great uncle, great granduncle, in my family tree, many of them were musicians, gamelan musician. And then you learn, you know, like, oh, maybe so. What did they do? Is there any recording or any notations or like evidence of their compositions? And so actually the last 5 years I tried to look back my family influence also. From my father's side is a bourgeois who was in the business of batik, where female members of the family are running the economy. So in Solo, for example, because I'm asking, why am I not so tempted into this modern feminist movement? And then I always try, even in Germany, I ask all this. Okay, I learned a lot about feminism and so on. But then I learned how to, also I felt some distance because the history of feminism is appearing from the West. That is probably not suitable to Indonesia. And then, okay, I try to look what is the history of feminism from Indonesian side. And then I realized that most of female or mothers, grand-aunt, great-grand-aunt, great-grandmother from my father's side are leading the business. They are in the batik and diamond who they are leading. And the man is at home and then, okay, worker coming, and then just like that. And leading in the more like religion and family business. But real business leaders are the women. So Solo has a very strong history of before all the feminism was an issue, because the business was run by a female, by the mothers. And so, okay, you know, a lot of single mother also in my family pictures. So that's why feminism was not something that is for me very exciting, because, yeah, you know, I've seen these strong women in my environment, and it was no problem, you know, in the city. And so identity has its own complexity. It depends which perspective you want to enter to talk about identity. If you talk about national identity, Indonesian national identity is what, like 13,000 island and language. That should be one, you know, like that's why Negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia, the archipelagos. How you want to make them become like one identity as part of the whole picture of Indonesia? cannot. It's very difficult to promote the same quality, the same amount, the same capacity, like Javanese and the Papuans and the Makassar, the Balinese, in the same intensity. I haven't seen evidence from my country that they are succeeded into this. Most of them very easy to present Javanese. Yeah. So, but until now, it's still not enough, I think. Or then they want to shape like combinations of all, which is like very mean, destructing, deconstructing all the traditional elements, and then become like Balinese dance combination with Sumatra dance, and then it's become Nusantara culture. What is this? It's not very respectful, I think. But that's the politicians' effort to make us believe we are one nation. So I think this is a very colonial idea. So decolonialization is, I think, also about how to relearn how to accept that different island, different part of Indonesia has different history of culture, and to see more, to be with this diversity as cannot just one picture, It's very burdening, like, you're Indonesian, and then, Indonesia is big, I cannot talk about Sulawesi culture, even though I made a lot of research on Sulawesi, but I still cannot representing, Yeah, thank you.
Hello, thank you very much for the talk, and it's really interesting. I'm just wondering what made you leave Indonesia in the first place and why you chose Germany?
When you were young, you fall in love. You fell in love with someone who is from somewhere, you don't know it, but you just want to be with him or with her. Then, okay lah, let's try. If I can survive in Germany, then that time I want to finish my study first. I want to finish my degree. Then I will see. And then I moved to Germany. I tried to look for a master program for international politics, but so difficult in Germany with my capacity of study in Indonesia. And so I give up and then wait, and then maybe, I want to learn something else. But then I met Ansu Furukawa, and then, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing. I'm looking for a job or a study place. And so, I was learning German, and then she said, because I was already in touch with Buto before I went to Germany, and she was telling me that she was a Buto choreographer, Buto dancer, and teaching at the art school. And so, and then I know Buto. I learned in Singapore, in Kyoto, took some courses before in 1992. And then she said, okay, why don't you come to my class on Monday? Then, okay, can I join? Then I joined, and then I registered as a guest student for 1 year, and then I did the examination to enter the school, and so then I become an artist. Actually, I wasn't planned to become an artist. Really, yeah. So that's how life sometimes tell you. You just need to listen, and I just follow because I was like, okay, I enjoy. I want to learn more and more and more. Yeah. Yeah, but although in Bandung I was active in theater and so on, so I'm not very strange to. My parents are artists, so I know. In the early time, by the early time I was ashamed that I go to Germany because love, but I don't care anymore, because many people also did it. Why are you ashamed? Like I bought my own ticket, and I could decide myself whether I like it in Germany or not. I could go back anytime to Indonesia, so I wasn't depending on him, and Yeah, that was my first husband. 1 year and then divorce. Was not good actually. But good. It's people has their own way of life, you know, and destiny maybe. Yeah, that kind of thing also shapes identity, you know, like as a woman or as a man, also the same. We talk too much more about shape identity of women, but also men in general. Personal life, personal journey that sometimes give a lot of reflections to see who you are in the society. Yeah, even to ask, why are you Indonesian girl that year just go there with your boyfriend to abroad and see possibilities and why you can decide, you know, not many girl in my age that time in the 90s have the privilege to decide their own life. Yeah, but my parents were very open. Yeah.
We can wrap up the session here, but maybe before we close, yeah, if there was anything we missed to talk on this work, or also maybe if you have any thought on upcoming projects that you're working on, or any new ideas that was you
Maybe
your mind?
couple years ago in 2023 I did commission work from the Esplanade, 2 commission dance piece and performance art piece that was exhibited at the 𝘔𝘦𝘬𝘬𝘁. Maybe some of you have seen this. But I'm also doing now choreography pieces that is really like a dance piece that is where I'm working with musicians and with dancers and so. But in my performance, my individual performance work, also now I'm like looking the resource of voice that is has an archaic capacity, that what is something to listen to the gut and expressing into voice work. I'll be performing for the opening of the Thailand Biennale on the 29th of November, so I'm preparing for that. I'm preparing also work for Kathmandu Triennale next year in Kathmandu, very exciting. I would like to produce one more work. And also there is another commission from the Swedish government and Lilith Performance Institute in Malmö in Sweden. Like again, quite big production that is long durational and involving performers in the work, dancers, performance artists and musicians, and also participation with the public. So, and besides, actually quite a lot of things in this year, that although I was planning to have holiday a little bit. But I try to work and research and enjoy and teaching and so please follow my Instagram. Then maybe you will be updated for what I'm doing. But exciting things coming from September on. September I will be in Taipei for the Taipei Performing Arts at the Taipei Performing Arts Center for Taipei Art Festival with my dance piece.
Right. So we can wrap up the session now, and thank you so much, Melati, for sharing your thoughts. Let's give one more round of applause. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this talk on this Sunday afternoon. The show is until July 20th, so please visit again and see. Maybe you can have some more time to see and Melati's works again. Then So also look for other programs that the SEM prepares in relation to this show and also the upcoming shows and the gallery next to here, this one you can also see, seeing forest, until 18th of May as well. Thank you so much.